The Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays.
We bring you The Witch's Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now let us join old Nancy, witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat.
$110-year-old I be today. Yes, sir. 110-year-old. Satan. A lot of folks have been writing us letters asking how old Nancy got to be such a nice ripe age. You said it, Satan. The whole answer to that question is that we knows magic charm. I wears a iron ring to keep away rheumatics. There's always an onion hanging over my door to drive off chills and fevers. And round my neck I wears a potent talisman made during the increase of the moon, which protects me from all accidents. A body who takes care of her health with powerful spells like them is bound to reach 118 years, like I just turned today. That's right, Satan. Another reason for me living so long is that I never tells a lie, which proves there's no truth in the saying that the good dies young. Well, we got another cheerful little bedtime story for you now. If you'll just turn out them lights and make it nice and dark. That's it. Now, draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into them deep, and soon you'll see 4 people at the door of a fine big house. Soon you'll learn about the hairy monster. That's our tale for tonight. The hairy monster.
Here we are. Now, just a moment till I find the light switch.
Hurry, Mr. Weeks.
Gosh, yes.
We're terrible excited.
I have it. Now, look at the inside of your new home.
Oh.
Gee whiz.
Barbara.
Like it?
Oh, it's heavenly.
A regular mansion.
Perfectly scrumptious.
And it's all yours, Miss Turner, house, grounds, and furnishings. That is, you'll carry out the conditions of Mrs. Hawker's will and live here continuously for 1 year, beginning tonight.
If she'll live here. Ha! Try and get you away, eh, perhaps?
Well, I'd say so. After you and Aunt Maggie and I have had to live in 2 rooms and a kitchenette all our lives. Oh, doesn't it just seem as though we're dreaming?
My.
I can hardly believe it.
It's true, all right.
Look, Dad. Mr. Weeks has even had a telephone put in for us.
I've had the place set in order as though I was moving in myself. Doesn't look like a house that's been closed and tenantless for 5 years,
Well,
does it?
it's just perfect. Everything.
Absolutely scrumptious.
I'm going to get our baggage from the car, so I'll have nothing to do but explore. I'm going over the place from cellar to attic.
Rodney, don't forget to bring in my hat box and umbrella.
I won't, Aunt Maggie.
Aunt Maggie, just look at these gorgeous window curtains. Real lace.
My. But the kitchen is what I want to see. That's my special bailiwick, Mr. Weeks. Where is it?
You'll find it at the end of this hall, Miss Omni.
Excuse me. I've got to have a look at the kitchen before I do another thing.
Oh, we're all so terribly excited, Mr. Weeks. And we'll never forget that our good fortune is entirely due to you.
Oh, not that. I'm only acting as any attorney would to serve his client's interests.
But other attorneys kept this place away from us for 5 whole years.
Well, they had no legal grounds for their action, as the courts have finally decided. The terms of Mrs. Hawker's will were specific and clear, in spite of certain rather strange provisions. Her sister, Helen, was named as sole heir. And in the event of her demise, it was provided that the estate should pass to her nearest female kin, which happened to be you. At your sister's untimely death, the executors should have placed you in immediate possession.
Now, to continue in possession, I simply have to fulfill the terms originally imposed upon my sister.
That's all. You reside in this house for a period of 1 year, during which time you will sleep in the master bedroom upstairs, which was formerly occupied by Mrs. Hawker. You are not to pass so much as a single night away from here, and you must spend at least 3 hours in that bedroom from every midnight to sunrise alone.
Funny condition, isn't it?
But a very simple one.
If poor Helen hadn't been killed in that auto accident the day of Mrs. Hawker's funeral, she would have found it as easy to fulfill as I shall. Now she's dead. And I have this wonderful house.
Your sister must have been a very sweet and lovable character. But Mrs. Hawker had known her scarcely 2 weeks when she executed that will in her favor.
Wasn't it extraordinary? Helen was only her paid companion, a trained nurse like myself.
Strange, the workings of fate. Now you, whom Mrs. Hawker never even met, become her heir.
What sort of woman was Mrs. Hawker? Helen used to write that she was very peculiar.
Well, that's proven by the queer conditions of her will.
But despite her eccentricities, Helen wrote that she was a highly intelligent old person who spent most of her time in scientific research.
I've heard that, but I hardly think that her studies were very scientific. You'll find some mighty queer stuff in the library she left. Works on magic, alchemy, and such outlandish things as that.
Is that what she studied?
They're the only book titles. I don't know what the volumes treat of that are written in Chinese.
Chinese?
Yes, you've inherited quite a collection of Oriental literature. Mrs. Hawker spent most of her life in Tibet. She was the wife of a missionary, I believe, and that's all I or anyone else in this town really knows about her. But she made no friends or confidants. From the time she came here 15 years ago and built this house, she rarely left it. In fact, she scarcely ever left that room upstairs, which you'll occupy in accordance with her will.
She must have been very eccentric. That provision isn't the only strange one in her will.
You don't have to worry about the others. The executives had seen to their fulfillment.
I know. But why?
Hey, help me, someone.
I'll unload you.
Right there. Much obliged. I wanted to get all this luggage in at once, so I'll have nothing to do but look over our new residence. And besides, it's Mr. Weeks' car we had cluttered up with this stuff, and he may want to drive it home sometime tonight.
Say, it's nearly midnight. I must be running along now.
Oh, it was awfully good of you to meet us at the train and bring us out here.
I wanted to enjoy your first excitement over the place.
Oh, Barbara, the kitchen is simply scrumptious. There's copper pots and pans, real silverware, china dishes. Rodney, did you bring in my big hat box and umbrella?
Here they are, Aunt Maggie.
Oh, thank goodness.
Well, I'll run along. Yes, you'll find things comfortable enough until you can make your own arrangements.
Everything's wonderful, thanks to you.
You've been a real friend, Mr. Weeks.
It's all been a pleasure for me. Good night.
I'll take you to the door.
We'll all take you.
My stars, the moon has come out.
Isn't it nice? It was dark as pitch when we drove up here.
Mr. Weeks, what's that little white building back there? Our garage?
No, son, that's Mrs. Hawker's tomb.
Oh, the mausoleum you told me she had built.
Yes.
That's the one thing I ain't going to like about this place. That tomb.
Well, we'll have to get used to it. One of the provisions in her will is that it is never to be removed.
That's right. Well, I must be going. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Weeks.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
And thanks 1,000 times.
Oh, that's all right. Good luck to you all.
Let's get back in, Babs. I'm just crazy to explore the place.
Oh, so am I. And I can hardly realize it's really ours.
I don't like that grave in the backyard.
Aunt Maggie, you knew that tomb was there before we came.
I didn't know it was so near the house. It ain't right for the dead and living to be so close to one another.
Oh, how silly. Come inside and stop gazing at it.
All right. Shut that door, Rodney, and lock it tight.
You ain't afraid Mrs. Hawker will get lonesome out there and try to pay us a visit?
If she wanted to, locks and bolts wouldn't stop her. Ghosts can get in anywhere.
Oh, Aunt Maggie, don't be so ridiculous. Here, Rod, let's take this luggage up to our bedrooms before we do anything else.
You two keep away from them bedrooms till I look them over.
What for?
What for? Ain't I been keeping house for you two orphans almost all your life? I'm going up and see the beds are made up proper with clean sheets and all.
All right, Aunt Maggie. Arrange things to suit yourself. But I'm asleep in the east wing room, you know.
I ain't forgetting. Here, I'll take my big hat box and umbrella. You can bring the rest of that truck up later.
Okay, Aunt Maggie. She would insist on going up there to fix things just as if we were a couple of kids.
Have you found the bedroom lights, Aunt Maggie?
Yes, Barbara.
This here east room of yours is from I knew it would be. Oh, Rodney, isn't it wonderful to know all this belongs to us, that we're going to live in this house?
You've got to live here for a year.
As though that could be anything but pleasure. Oh, tonight, I'm just the happiest girl in the world.
What was that?
Aunt Maggie!
Come upstairs. Something is wrong.
Aunt Maggie!
Aunt Maggie!
She doesn't answer.
Well, the lights have gone out up here.
We're in the dark. Aunt Maggie, where are you?
Give me your hand. The east room this way. We find her there.
Oh, why doesn't she answer us? What made her scream?
Oh, the lights have gone on again.
There she is, in that room.
On the floor.
Aunt Maggie. Well, Aunt Maggie, speak to me.
She doesn't move. She's fainted.
Look at her eyes, Rod.
They're staring at the ceiling, just like she was scared of something. What?
I don't know. She's not breathing. Her heart isn't beating. Rod! She's dead.
You still insist, Doc, that this woman was frightened to death?
I do, Lieutenant. Until an autopsy shows me some chronic organic weakness that isn't apparent now, I'll say she died of paralysis of the heart muscles brought about by shock. The expression of her face and eyes indicate that shock was caused by sheer stark terror.
But what could have frightened her? There was nothing here to do it.
You two entered this room almost immediately after she screamed?
Yes, and the room was just like you see it now.
Well, she couldn't have been frightened by anything seen through these windows. Shutters are closed, shades drawn. You're positive every door and window in this house is locked on the inside, Ryan?
Yes, sir. Absolutely positive.
Yet you found no one hiding in the place.
No, sir. We've searched every corner.
You're sure neither of you touched anything after you found your aunt?
No, sir. Not even the front door, which was locked until you got here.
We just phoned for you police and then sat down until you came.
If that woman died of fright, then she must have been scared by her own imagination.
Oh, that's impossible. She wasn't that kind.
It's the only explanation that is possible, miss. When the coroner here first gave us his theory of her death, I suspected a tramp or burglar had surprised her. But we've proved that no one has gotten in or out of the place and that nobody's here now except ourselves.
Oh, someone must have turned those lights on.
Yeah, and turn them on again.
No, that was caused by defective wiring, maybe. I'll have the electric company look into that just to check. This is a coroner's case, not a police matter, boys. Come on, let's go.
Lieutenant, sir.
Yes, Ryan?
Do you mind putting me on duty inside this house for a couple of days, maybe?
What for? The case is closed.
I kind of got a notion that it ain't.
What do you mean?
I've just kind of got a notion.
Another of your crazy notions, eh? I've got his idea, boys. Detective Ryan is an authority on spooks. There's an explanation for us. A ghost could frighten a woman to death, and they wouldn't be stopped by locked windows or doors.
I ain't suspecting a ghost of being in this house tonight, sir. For I've just found something that no ghost would leave behind.
What have you found?
This, sir. It was snagged on back of that chair.
Hair.
2 hairs. 2 white human hairs.
Anyone might have shed a few hairs here at any time.
But these are most unusual hairs, sir. Look. I I'm 6 feet tall, and these hairs are longer than I am.
Well, that's just the beginning of this dirty story, Satan. You folks come see me next time I has a birthday, and I'll let you know what sort of critter them 6-foot hairs belong to.
We bring you The Witch's Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now let us join old Nancy and Satan, her wise black cat.
Hannah, I'm 12-year-old, I beat today. Yes, sir. Hannah, I'm 12-year-old. And now, if everybody just douse out their lights, we'll spin the finish of that 30 yarn we begun the last time you was here. Why'd we leave off, Satan? Oh, yes. We told how that nice young girl named Barbara Turner inherited a fine big mansion that had originally been left her sister by a strange old woman named Mrs. Hawker, who'd made a lot of funny provisions in her will. Then the house stood empty for 5 years, for the lawyers let Barbara have it. So when she come to take possession with her young brother and her aunt, she was mighty happy. Until she found her aunt lying in a room upstairs, stone dead. The police doctor said she'd been frightened to death. And then a young detective found 2 human hairs beside her. 2 white human hairs that was over 6 feet long. Now draw up to the fire and gaze into them embers. Gaze into them deep and hear the rest of our yarn about the hairy monster. The hairy monster. Ha 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 ha.
It's almost 1 o'clock, Mr. Ryan. How much longer are we going to sit here in the dark?
It's a little before 12. You heard your aunt scream in this room last night.
Yes.
I kind of had a notion history might repeat itself, but it begins to look like I was wrong. You're all in, aren't you, Miss Turner?
Of course she's all in. She hasn't had a wink of sleep.
Oh, that doesn't matter, Rod, if there's anything to be gained by watching here.
Well, I'd kind of like to sit it out a while longer, if you don't mind.
You still think those hairs you found had something to do with Aunt Maggie's death?
Well, I kinda got a notion.
But what could have hair like that, nearly 6 feet long?
I don't know, son.
You say the autopsy this afternoon strengthened the coroner's conviction my aunt was frightened to death.
Yes,
But you are positive no human being could have gotten in here. Mr. Ryan, do you believe in ghosts, as the lieutenant said last night?
Well, I keep a sort of open mind, miss. You know, folks are apt to say things ain't so just 'cause those things haven't been a part of their personal experience. I've got a kind of notion strange things happen in this world that can't be explained away by simply saying they couldn't happen.
You're Irish, aren't you, Mr. Ryan?
Well, Ryan ain't exactly a Polish name. You mean maybe I come by my funny beliefs natural.
Belief in the supernatural is common to all races. Only the Irish seem to have a deeper insight into mysteries, and, well, only the Scotch can compete with them when it comes to having notions.
Yes, and my mother was Scotch.
Is that so? I'm Scotch-Irish, too.
Well.
You know, I kind of had a notion. Yes, sir. The moment I looked at you, I said to myself, now there's too nice a girl to be anything.
Say, if
but
anything's
Scotch.
going to happen in this room, when is it going to begin?
Just wait a little longer, son. Yes, sir, Miss Turner. You're the type of girl who... Say, you're not engaged or going with anyone steady, are you?
You know, according to Mrs. Hawker's will, my sister has to stay in this room at least 3 hours every night alone.
Oh, I don't care anything about that, Rod. After what's happened, I hate this house.
Funny conditions in that will you, Mrs. Hawkers, you told me about. Awful funny. Come on, son. Let you and me leave your sister alone in here.
Not if you think anything may happen.
It won't. That was just a bum notion. Here, now switch on these lights. Now leave them burning the rest of the night, miss. I think you'll sleep better.
I'd rather you and Rod would stay here with me, Mr. Rod. I'm not afraid, but I'm too upset to sleep.
No, I'm not. I'm tired, and I'm going to bed. Come on, son.
If my sister don't want to be left here alone,
She'll like
she
it
don't
when she
have
gets
to.
used to it. Come on.
Hey, let go of my arms. What do you
Come
think?
on.
Don't do that.
Mr. Ryan.
Good night.
Say, are you crazy?
Shut up.
I will not. You can't so real for
I'm going to keep my hand over your mouth so you nod your head. You'll keep your face closed. You keep quiet? All right.
What's the idea?
Just got a notion something might happen in that room quicker if so many people weren't hanging around.
You mean that...
I don't know. We ain't going to move 2 feet from your sister's door if we have to stay here all night. Now come back here. What's that crack of light under the door? If it goes out or your sister yells, we throw ourselves into that room double quick. 1 o'clock.
What's your reason for all this?
There ain't no reason. I've just kind of got...
Stood here like statues for a solid hour. My legs are cramped.
Rubber. Sister's asleep. Hear her breathe. She breathes nicely and is soft like.
Say, if you're expecting a ghost to walk, they don't come round till after midnight.
Ghosts don't leave human hair behind.
Oh, I think this waiting is all the bunk. Nothing was in that room last night, and nothing could get in there now with us here in front of the only door. Mr. Ryan, the light just went out under the door.
Yes. Come on, let's go.
Look, by the bed.
Good God.
Something covered with hair.
Yes, long white hair.
Help! I can't breathe.
Quick, your gun.
Hold that flashlight on it.
It's a hairy monster.
You missed.
Shoot again.
I hit it, but it doesn't drop.
Oh, it's coming toward me.
Bullets don't seem to kill it. Something unnatural, dead.
Shoot again.
My gun's empty. I'll grab it.
No, don't touch it. Don't let it touch you.
It's going through the wall.
There's a false panel, a secret passage there. Give me that flashlight. I'm going up.
No, don't go in that darkness alone.
He's gone down those stairs, inside the wall.
Come on after him. It'll kill him.
Babs, come back. It'll kill us all.
Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan.
Babs, I'll go with you. Babs.
There's Mr. Ryan's flashlight up ahead. Come on.
That thing, that hairy thing has got away.
Where does this passage lead to?
I don't know. Look out. Here's more stairs going up.
Mr. Ryan, are you safe? It didn't hurt you?
No. I'm all right. The thing has disappeared.
What was it? It wasn't human, covered with that matted hair, and it smelled of mold and earth and death.
No.
Tried to smother me in my
Here,
sleep.
Miss Turner, pull yourself together. I don't know what it was we saw and followed. But here's where I lost it. Here at the end of this secret passage.
This is the end.
Where are we?
I've got a kind of notion we're in Mrs. Hawker's tomb.
Mr. Ryan, that frightful thing we saw last night couldn't have been Mrs. Hawker. She's been dead 5 years. And you say yourself it was not a ghost?
No. Ghosts don't leave hair behind. They're little things like this.
What's that?
Human fingernail, 5 inches long. I found it by the panel that leads into that passage. I've read that nails grow out about an inch each year. And like hair sometimes, they keep on growing after death.
You mean...
But last night we saw the dead who's still alive.
A vampire?
No, a vampire drained your blood. Mrs. Hawker came last night to steal your body. When she was placed in this tomb 5 years ago, she had everything arranged to steal your sister.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've done some funny reading, as I told you, Miss Turner. In Tibet, where Mrs. Hawker used to live, there's magicians who know how to suspend all animation of their organs and to live like the dead for almost any time they want. They also know how to kill another human being by smothering its breath and how to set up their own spirit inside the stolen flesh. Mrs. Hawker knew all about the magicians of Tibet.
If this incredible thing can be true, that explains those conditions in her will.
Yep. That her heir occupy that room with a secret passage leading to this mausoleum. She'd been cheated of your sister and had waited 5 years when you arrived. She was over-anxious to claim your life that she might live again. So she entered that room without caution, and your aunt saw her awful figure in the moonlight. Last night she waited. Careful.
But the lights, what made them go out?
Master switch inside the passage. She built this house herself, you know. And among the queer conditions in her will was one that the slab above her tomb should be made so it might be lifted by a lever inside her coffin. Another stipulation was that she shouldn't be embalmed.
And those instructions were carried out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but why didn't your bullets kill her last night if she's really living? They say you're a champion pistol shot, and yet we couldn't find a drop of
She
blood.
hasn't any blood, son. Her body is just a dried-up husk held together by a evil spirit. That husk must be destroyed entirely, all at once. That's why I'm having those lamps put up inside the mausoleum.
Those huge sun ray lamps?
Yes, the sun that preserves life is the destroyer of the dead. That's why she can only leave her tomb in darkness.
It's night now. There may be danger from her if you lift that slab. Why don't you wait until morning, until the natural sun comes
I
out?
can't have her in the same world with you another hour. You know, Miss Turner, you're the type of girl who...
Everything's set, right?
You and your brother wait outside here, just in case anything goes wrong.
No, if there's any danger, I'm going with you.
Miss Turner, you're not engaged or going with anybody's lady, are you?
We're ready, Ryan, if you are.
All right. Lamp set and lever placed?
Everything.
Now turn your lamps on before we put pressure on this lever.
There they go.
All right, boys. Heave the slab off.
Here it comes.
Now keep away from here, Miss Turner.
It's off.
You are right. In that coffin is a hairy monster.
She's alive. She's getting up.
Now turn those rays down there in the coffin. Those lamps went out. What's wrong?
Connection came apart. I'll fix it.
Quick.
She's rising from this
Good
tomb.
Lord. You keep back, Miss Turner. Keep away.
She's got a hand for Mr. Ryan.
Oh, and those long nails like knives.
Those lamps. God's sake,
Tear her
those
away.
lamps.
She's cutting him to pieces.
Get away.
Lamps are out again.
And the rays are working. Look.
She's letting go. Oh, Mr.
She's fallen.
She's becoming just dust and bones and hair.
She's gone.
Destroyed forever. Are you all right?
I kinda got a notion.
Oh, you're bleeding. She slashed your face and throat. Rod, get me iodine, bandages. Thank goodness I'm a nurse.
Nurse? You know, Miss Turner, you're just the type of girl... Say, are you engaged or going with anyone steady?
Be quiet. You're weak and losing blood.
But are you?
No, not yet. Why do you keep asking me that?
Oh, I kind of got...
Well, that's the end of that, Satan. And if it didn't curl your hair, it should at least make it kind of wavy. Well, Satan and me's got business to tend to now. Important business, Satan. Near midnight, Satan.
It's intermission time at the Baba Gully Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. The following is a PSA from Watch Waddle Productions. Now that autumn is here, be prepared for the day of mischievous pranks and disobedient escapades. That is, October 30th. Halloween Eve. Before the tricks and the treats, there's Mischief Night. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We now return you to the Baba Gully Show on OTR Halloween Holidays. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watch Waddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda.
The ghosts are moving tonight, restless, hungry. May I introduce myself? I'm Watson Pritchard. In just a minute, I'll show you the only really haunted house in the world. Since it was built a century ago, 7 people, including my brother, have been murdered in it. Since then, I've owned the house. I've only spent one night there, and when they found me in the morning, I was almost dead.
I'm Frederick Loren, and I've rented the house on Haunted Hill tonight so that my wife can give a party. A haunted house party. She's so amusing. There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited. If any of you will spend the next 12 hours in this house, I'll give you each $10,000, or your next of kin in case you don't survive. Ah, but here come our other guests. It was my wife's idea to have our guests come in funeral cars. She's so amusing. Her sense of humor is, shall we say, original. I dreamed up the hearse. It's empty now, but after a night in the house on Haunted Hill? Who knows? This is Lance Schroeder, a test pilot, so no doubt a brave man. But don't you think you can be much braver if you're paid for it? And I happen to know that Lance needs the $10,000 I'll give him, if he's brave enough to stay all night. This is Ruth Bridges. You've no doubt read her column in the newspapers. She says her reason for coming to the party is to write a feature article on ghosts. She's also desperate for money. Gambles. You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there, around the mouth and eyes? This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the $10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
Where is everybody?
It isn't a very warm welcome, is it?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other? Don't you two know each other?
I'm afraid I don't even know your name.
I'm Nora Manning.
Lance Schroeder.
Is Frederick Loren a friend of yours?
I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either. Just a phone call. Do you know him?
No.
Well, then you're the only one of us who does.
I don't know him. All the details about renting the house were done by mail.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
And 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think, so far.
A $50,000 party for only 5 people is a little steep, even for a millionaire.
Well, if I were going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I'd do it in.
Who closed the door?
This thing's made of solid steel.
Annabelle, our guests are here, unfortunately still alive. Is your face on yet?
Dust and dirt everywhere, and the water barely trickles. Couldn't you have had the place clean?
Atmosphere, darling. You know how ghosts are. They never tidy up. And that's a very fetching outfit, but hardly suitable for a party.
I'm not going to the party.
The spend-the-night ghost party was your idea, remember? Since it's going to cost me $50,000, I want you to have fun.
The party was my idea until you invited all the guests. Why all these strangers? Why none of our friends?
Friends? Do we have any friends?
No, your jealousy took care of that.
I had a reason for inviting each guest. I wanted kind of a cross-section. From psychiatrist to typist, and from drunk to jet pilot. They share one thing. They all need money. Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call this a party?
Could be.
Why do you always do that? It spoils the champagne.
It might explode.
Never does.
Would you guarantee that?
That isn't funny, Frederick.
Make a good headline. Playboy kills wife with champagne cork. Will you join me?
No, thank you.
Just a sip might improve your humor.
My humor is fine, thanks. And I haven't poisoned it.
It's always good to know that. Have some. You'll enjoy the party more. Go on.
Your trust is so touching. And I'm not going to the party.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million tax-free? You want it all, don't you?
I deserve it all. Your jealousy isn't tax-free, and your possessiveness is maddening.
If ever a man had grounds for divorce.
But can't prove them.
The time will come. You'll slip up one of these days.
Think so?
If I live long enough. You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes. Arsenic on the rocks. Annabelle, you'd do it again if you thought you could get away with it, wouldn't you?
Darling, what makes you think that?
Something about you. I hear that hanging is very uncomfortable, in case you get any more ideas. And don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, the only ghoul in the house is you.
And don't sit up all night thinking of ways to get rid of me. It makes wrinkles.
This is what she used on my brother and her sister. Hacked them to pieces. We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that. But no heads.
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened the husband with a knife and then
carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him, and simply went on from there.
She certainly went on. How many people did she kill, Mr. Pritchard?
Only 2. Her husband and her sister. No one else was here.
So there are 2 loose heads just floating around in here somewhere?
You can hear them at night. They whisper to each other and then cry.
Since our host isn't here, would anyone care to mix me a drink?
Certainly. What will you have?
Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Loren. Since we're all strangers to each other, let's get acquainted with a drink, shall we?
Mr. Loren, I advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving, and that's a bad sign.
Let me apologize for my wife. She'll join us later. What do you have?
Scotch and.
Doctor?
I'll have the same.
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there's no way out. The windows have bars that a jail would be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There's no electricity, no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I shan't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested in your reasons for this, party. Aside from the pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost. And now my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc., being only creations of hysteria, your party should be a success.
Well, Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
7 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women.
You planned your party very well, Mr. Loren. 4 of us are men, 3 are women. Well, a ghost for everybody.
And Pritchard, why don't you take us on a tour through the house and let's see what happens, huh?
See that stain? Blood. A young girl was killed here. And whatever got her wasn't human. Don't stand there.
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Oh, that must be what it is. Who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Well, Mr. Pritchard, you're the life of the party.
Oh, he hasn't even started yet. Wasn't there a man who threw his wife into a wine vat or something?
That was in the cellar. There's been a murder almost every place in this house. All this belonged to a Mr. Norton, who didn't die here. He was electrocuted later. Mr. Norton did a good deal of experimenting with wines, but his wife didn't think it was any good. So he filled the vat with acid and threw her in. She was supposed to stay down, but the bones came up. It's a funny thing, but none of the murders here were just ordinary. Just shooting or stabbing. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different. Look out! Thank God she didn't fall in.
You mean there's still acid in there?
destroys everything with hair and flesh. Just leaves the bones. My, it's dry and dusty down here.
Well, there's a cure for that upstairs. Come on.
How'd you get invited to this party? No. Oh, go on. I mean, what'd he tell you?
Mr. Loren said everybody'd get $10,000.
But he didn't say anything about being locked in.
No.
He just made a deal with me on the phone, but nothing about having to stay.
Aren't you going to stay?
If I don't, I lose $10,000.
I'm going to stay, too. $10,000.
Yeah. You believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Well, I agree with what that doc says. You can spook yourself. I've done it in planes. Seen things that weren't really there. Oh, were they? What are you going to do with your $10,000? If we get it.
What do you mean, if we get it? Won't he pay us if we stay?
Ah, sure he will. 10,000 is no more to him than a nickel is to us.
We were in an automobile accident. Now I'm the only one in the family who can make any money.
Boy, I've never seen so many doors. Closet. Bottles.
Does it go anywhere? Lance! Lance!
Please, come on. Did she say Lance is gone? Gone where?
We'll have to break it down. It's locked.
Locked? Nothing that money won't cure. I must have bumped my head.
And the only way you could bump your head in here is to run head on into the wall. You didn't do that, did you? Let's get a bandage on that.
I wonder why they didn't kill him.
Who?
He didn't bump his head. They hit him.
They?
Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost.
There was something.
What did it look like?
Well, it was wearing a black thing that went all the way to the floor.
Weren't you a little frightened at the time?
Well, yes.
That, Mr. Loren, is hysteria.
Well, then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria, too?
You better get that checked in a day or so.
Thanks, Doc. Wait for me in the hall.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Loren.
You really believe in your pet ghost, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will, too.
Would you like a drink, Lance?
No, thanks.
I'd like one. Scotch and. Mr. Loren, are you really going to pay anyone who stays all night?
Certainly. $10,000.
Will there be much red tape or delay?
You in a hurry, dear?
Frankly, yes. Or frantically.
There you are, my dear.
Someone or something was in here when I came in. But where? And if the door was locked, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what was in here with me was no ghost.
I don't know. I was so scared.
Does it sound different to you?
Yes.
Three, 6, 9, 12. 12 feet. Three, 6. Now, I'm going to knock on the other wall. When you hear me, you knock on this wall. Tap lower down. Where'd it come from?
From in here.
What if it ran out of here? I'd have seen it.
Lance, it doesn't run. It just floats.
Yeah, but why didn't I see it?
You don't believe me.
Well, how can I?
I'm Annabelle Loren. You must be Miss Manning. I realize this is a very unusual and I'm afraid very dull party. Wouldn't you like to freshen up? This is your room. Depressing, isn't it?
I doubt if I'll spend much time here.
It's going to rain. Perfect atmosphere for my husband's party. Why did you come here?
He said he'd give me $10,000.
Why did he pick you?
I don't know. My supervisor just came and said I'd been invited.
How long have you known my husband?
I just met him tonight.
So? Why you? What were you doing wandering around by yourself?
Well, I was in the cellar with Lance, Mr. Schroeder, and I just left, that's all.
Don't do it again. Don't go anywhere in this house by yourself. Now fix your face and I'll come by for you in a few minutes.
But
You're in danger. We all are.
But who?
I hope for your sake you never find out. I'm Annabelle Loren. Were you looking for something?
Not exactly.
Are you the doctor?
No, I'm Lance Schroeder.
The pilot. You've hurt yourself.
Oh, it's just a bump on the head. Which is my room?
I believe this is it.
Thank you, Mrs. Loren.
Annabelle Lance. You were with the young girl in the cellar. Why was she so upset?
Was she?
And you don't look like the type to go around bumping his head. What really happened, Lance?
Well, Nora thought she saw a ghost, but I didn't see anything.
She was just frightened then.
And mad at me, I think. I kidded her about it.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.
Now, don't tell me you're taking all this seriously.
Aren't you?
Well, I'd like to find out what hit me.
Lance. If I need help, may I count on you?
Sure, I guess so. Look, what's going on here anyway? I mean, what is with this party bit?
This is no party. He's planning something.
Your husband?
I wish I knew what it was.
Must be pretty big if he's going to lay out $50,000.
The money doesn't mean anything. He has a reason for getting us all up here to this dreadful old house.
Well, what for? He doesn't even know us.
Maybe that's exactly why you're here.
Oh, well, what can he get away with?
Oh, he thinks that big money like his can get away with anything. You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. The first simply disappeared. The other two died. Lance, I don't want to join them.
You mean he,
Oh, his doctor said they died of heart attacks. 2 girls in their 20s.
Well, what can he do?
My husband is sometimes insane with jealousy. Nothing matters to him then. Please be careful.
Would he hurt you?
He would kill me if he could.
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed his head in.
Is he badly hurt?
The Saturnine psychiatrist bandaged him up. Don't you want to go and console him, as you do most men, in your fashion?
You're so clever, Frederick.
Yes, I lie awake nights wondering why I married you. It was rather a mistake.
You didn't marry me, dear. I married you. Unpleasant, but no mistake.
Hurry up.
Frederick, for the last time, I'm not going to your party.
And for the last time, it's not my party, but yours. And you are going.
I am not.
You ready, dear?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
Would you adore me as much if I were poor? No. All you want to be is a lovely widow. It's almost time to lock up the house. And then your party will really begin. I wonder how it'll end. midnight, Lance.
Okay. I'll be down in a minute.
Who is it?
Your host, my dear. It's almost midnight, Nora. We're all going to get together down in the living room.
All right, Mr. Loren. I'll be right down.
Come with us before he kills you.
Where's Nora? Miss Manning.
I don't want to stay here.
Nora, what happened? That's Jonas Slides and his wife. They've been caretakers here for years. She's blind, you know.
I'm not going to stay here.
Well, Doctor, it looks like we have a real case of hysteria on our hands.
I think she's just a little upset, not hysterical.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. This is my wife. These are our guests. Ruth Bridges, Dr. Trent. You know Watson Pritchard, of course. Nora Manning, and this is Lance Schroeder.
Get me out of here.
Now, what about the 10,000?
I don't care. He wants to kill me.
Who wants to kill you?
Mr. Loren.
May I have your attention, please? I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece. If any of you don't survive, $50,000 will be divided amongst the rest of you. If I should die, you will be paid by my estate. When the door is locked from the outside by the caretakers, we'll all be forced to stay in this house until morning. If any of you decide not to stay, you must leave with the caretakers now. You won't have a chance to change your minds later, because there'll be no way to get out.
I don't want to stay.
Wait.
It isn't midnight yet. Who told them they could leave?
They never leave before midnight.
Well, they've gone now. I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now.
But I don't want to stay.
I'm sorry, my dear, but it's too late now.
Darling, haven't you had enough of this silly game? Get some cars up here for these people and let them go home. But pay them first.
This is your party, remember? In spite of my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible, we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning. But we have some party favors for you in these little coffins. This is my wife's idea. And I must say, I think it's rather dangerous. I suppose you all know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger. You see, they're loaded.
These are no good against the dead, only the living.
Doctor? Lance? Nora?
Go ahead, take it.
Miss Bridges? And here's yours, dear.
I don't need it.
It was your idea. Who knows, you may want to use it on me before this night is over.
Throw these guns away. They won't do you any good.
I agree with Pritchard on that point, although not for the same reason.
Dr. Trent, don't you approve of our little party favors?
Suppose Nora had had a gun when she mistook the blind woman for a ghost.
I don't think anyone else is going to walk around in total darkness.
Oh, I'm sure we're not going to go running around the house shooting each other, aren't you?
Who knows? Fear makes people do amazing things.
Mr. Pritchard, you said your sister-in-law killed a man and a woman here and cut them up? You said they found hands and feet, but they never found any heads. Would you like to see one of those heads? Would you all like to see one of those heads? Well then, just follow me.
Darling, I really don't need this.
Just go look in my suitcase. Just go look. But it was in there. A woman's head.
Nora, I think you're a little upset. Would you care for a sedative?
Get out! Get out, all of you! All of you, get out of here and leave me alone! Just get out of here!
You think it's all right to leave her by herself, Doctor?
I wish she'd taken the sedative.
Well, what do you suppose she thought she saw?
They're closing in on her.
Look, Doc, I think somebody ought to stay with her.
There could be 1 million people around her. And if they wanted her, they'd get her.
What if he's right?
He's too drunk to know what he's talking about.
I wonder. I'll join you in a minute.
Do you think it would do any good if you went in and talked to her?
Well, do you think there really was a head in her suitcase?
I don't know.
A thing like that would put me right over the edge.
Look, would you sort of stay up here, in case she needs help?
All right. I'll be in my room. Just call it.
Thanks.
Are you sure there are only 7 people in this house?
Positive, except for the ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts, nor in frightening women. In Nora's case, it's gone far enough. Perhaps too far.
What do you suggest we do about it, Doctor?
Don't frighten her anymore.
Nora? Nora? Nora?
What do you know about this?
They've taken her. In a little while, she'll be one of them.
Where's Norton? Where is she?
It's too late. It's too late. You'll never find her again.
Pritchard, if you know where she is, you better tell me now.
She's gone. She's gone with them. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Lay her down.
Nora?
She's dead, Mr. Loren. Your wife hanged herself.
Suicide.
Hide me. Please, hide me.
What's the matter?
Hide me. He tried to kill me. He grabbed me and choked me and put me in that room. And then he went away and left me.
Who?
He thought I was dead.
Who?
Mr. Loren.
Are you sure about this?
I don't know. It was dark, but it must have been him.
Has anybody seen you since he left you?
I heard some people in that room, but I went by and nobody saw me.
Mrs. Loren is dead.
But how?
Loren said she committed suicide, but I think somebody killed her.
Him?
I'm sure you've come to the same conclusion I have.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's all have a meeting, discuss what to do. The living room?
Okay, in a minute. I gotta go downstairs. Now, you lock yourself in here and don't let anybody know you're here. If he thinks you're dead, he won't come here. And I'll get back as soon as I can. You'll be all right. And if you have to, You use it. So beautiful. So greedy. So cold. What are you doing in here?
Wait. Don't wait.
What do you mean coming in here?
I didn't want them to take her away.
You're drunk.
They will if you don't watch her.
You're drunk. All right, out with it, Bridget. Why did you come into this room?
I'm the only one who understands.
Understands what?
Your wife isn't there anymore. She's already joined them.
Bridget, I've had enough of your spook talk. Get out, you sot, and don't come back into this room again.
Where's what's-her-name? Nora.
I didn't disturb her since I don't think this concerns her.
No, you're right.
Mr. Loren, isn't there some way we can get out of this house now?
No, none at all.
We could try breaking out.
The only door to the outside is made of steel. The bars of the windows are set in solid stone. We gotta stay.
I'm not afraid of your ghosts, Pritchard. But I am afraid. When we came here a few hours ago, the only thing we had in common was the $10,000 we'd get. Now, however, we share something else. The death of Mrs. Loren. So far tonight, one of us was almost killed by a falling chandelier. One of us was mysteriously slugged. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria, and one of us is dead. Were these accidents? Suicide? And we must stay here for 6 more hours.
6 hours? 6 of us. Time enough.
Who will be next? How will it happen?
Let me ask you a question, Doctor. You were the first one to see my wife there. Did you also see anything that she could have climbed up on and then jumped?
No.
Did any of you? There was nothing. How then did she get up there so high?
Exactly, Mr. Loren. How? She couldn't have pulled herself up there. She couldn't have dropped from the ceiling. Do you think your wife killed herself?
No. She was murdered by one of you.
Or you, Mr. Loren. To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
We were all strangers to your wife. Only you had a motive for murder.
What husband hasn't at some time wanted to kill his wife? What husband hasn't had 1,000 opportunities to do it in such a way so that he'd never be suspected? I'm not such a fool as to hang my wife from a ceiling by a rope.
The fact remains that you, or one of us, murdered Mrs. Loren. And that's a matter for the police.
So how do we get the police?
That's my point. We can't until morning. What began as a silly party given by an eccentric has now involved us all in murder.
For once, Pritchard may be right. If another murder's in the works, let's stop it now.
Another murder.
Why not? Maybe one of us saw too much.
Why should even a millionaire want to give each of us $10,000 to spend one night in a gloomy old house? To see some ghosts, have a party? No.
Have you finished trying me, Doctor? And is the verdict guilty of murder?
Oh, this isn't getting us anywhere. Somebody killed Mrs. Loren, we know that. One of us is guilty and the rest of us are innocent, okay. Now what we have to do for the next 6 hours is protect ourselves from each other.
Do you really think?
I don't think anything. I just know that I'm going to my room. And if anybody comes in, I'll shoot him. Or her.
And if we all stay in our rooms, we'll be safe. Because the innocent will have no reason to leave his room. And the guilty will admit his guilt if he or she does.
And we all have guns.
And we're all agreed?
Oh, I wish this night were over.
Rooms? Guns? I tell you, it doesn't make any difference. They aren't through with us yet. What's the use of saying goodnight?
Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Lance. You okay? They've all gone to their rooms and locked themselves in.
Lance, I've been thinking. It was so dark down there. Maybe it wasn't Mr. Loren.
It was him, all right. He tried to kill you, and he did kill his wife.
How can you be so sure?
She tried to warn me, asked me to help her. The doc thinks he's going to try and kill one of us. Now, there must be a way out of this place, and I'm going to find it and get the police before he does.
I'm going with you.
Well, if he finds out you're alive... No, Nora. You're safer here than any place else. Now, just lock yourself in and keep quiet. If I find a way out, I'll come back and get you.
And admission of guilt, Doctor?
Certainly not. There's either somebody else in this house or one of us has left his room. Did you hear anything?
Organ music?
That, and someone walking.
You got yours? Ready?
You look downstairs, and I'll look up here.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds left of someone's life. Why waste time? It's almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What's happening?
We've done it. A perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
Get me out of this hanging harness. What's taking that girl so long? What time is it?
At first, I couldn't get Nora to want to protect herself with a gun. After you appeared at the window, everything began to work just as we had planned. You were wonderful. Just the touch that finally drove her into complete hysteria.
It'll be worth all of our planning, darling. Where's Nora now? What's happening?
On her way to the cellar. So scared she'll shoot the first thing that moves.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar, too.
David, are you sure none of them will suspect us?
Of what? An hysterical girl accidentally shoots somebody? Who would suspect that we planned it that way, that we drove her to it?
What about my suicide?
But just a ghost party gag. We'll claim it was a dummy since I'm the only one who touched you.
And the caretakers?
But they had no idea what they were really doing.
What about Nora? She's not stupid, you know.
Darling, believe me, everything we planned is working perfectly. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked her in the cellar, not me. And now Nora's almost out of her mind with fear. The heads, the music, you're hanging. I tell you, when Frederick walks in there, she'll shoot him.
It's taking too long. David, you ought to be there.
When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
David? David?
At last you've got it all. Everything I have. Even my life. But you're not going to live to enjoy it. Come with me, murderess. Come with me. Was indeed perfect. Only the victim is alive and the murderers are not. It's a pity you didn't know when you started your game of murder that I was playing too.
There must be some way to get in here.
Oh, it's right along here somewhere.
Lance! I've shot Mr. Loren. He's down in the wine cellar.
Alive?
I don't think so. It's him. He's alive.
You didn't shoot anyone, my dear. I loaded your gun with blanks. I can tell you all now. Trent and my wife were planning to kill me. They failed. Trent tried to throw me in the vat. My wife stumbled and fell. I'm ready for justice to decide if I'm innocent or guilty.
now there are 9. There'll be more, many more. They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.
This little boy and this little girl, their mother and father too. They all have an urge, and oh, what an urge for something to munch and chew. Choo-choo. Now these are just swell, and this rings the bell. The popcorn is crispy and hot. Then others again have a terrible yen for a drink, then hits the spot. Go, go. So if you want candy, the lobby is handy. A counter with sweets and a crew. With your kind permission, we'll have intermission. We're ready to serve all of you.
This radio show has been brought to you by... Hello, kids. Bored at home? Can't get any girls to come over? Well, then call up some ghouls to come over instead. They'll certainly scare the pants off of ya. Just dial 1-900-CALL-GHOULS and hear some scary stories.
$2 for the first minute, 35 cents each additional minute, plus 3 solds for the full experience. Ask your parents' permission first.
And now back to our radio show. The Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays.
Have you been holding that wire to the coast open?
Yes, sir. San Francisco's ready. Go ahead.
Hello, Frisco. Hammond talking.
Yes, Mr. Hammond. This is Walt.
Were you able to pick up Professor Howland's test?
Yes, sir. The reception was marvelous. The images were much clearer than we've ever been able to televise. It came through on the micro shortwave and was using about 280 lines.
All right, thanks. Goodbye. This should convince you we've got to fight to maintain our position with any weapons we can utilize. We're caught out on a limb, but we're going to fight for what we've got, and more.
What are the chances of our engineers hitting up on the same idea? Remember, he hasn't even protected himself with patents.
We knew that when we offered him $5 million for the rights to his discovery.
This latest invention of Howland's is what we've all been afraid of.
We're coming out on top, but we may have to prescribe a drastic cure for...
Did you send for me?
Yeah. Come right in, Grayson.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. How do you do?
Cigar?
Thanks.
You realize it's possible for a man of experience with brains and ambition to go far in this business?
Well, I've got the ambition.
We've got to be ready for any eventuality, one jump ahead of the other. We picked you for a definite job. It's worth almost anything to this company that you make it worth. You can be valuable, a supremely valuable man. And valuable men receive their just rewards on earth, not in...
Certainly.
From now on, you become a sort of employee at large. Understand?
Yes, perfectly. You're interested in getting...
The less we know of the details of what you're doing, the better. We want results.
2 old-fashioned cocktails, darling, please. And 1 dry martini for Dr. Schofield. And be sure it's very, very dry.
Hello, Schofield. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry I missed you yesterday. We docked last Saturday, but I had to run on to Washington for a few days.
Are you going to be here long this time?
I'm sailing again on the 20th.
Another criminal case?
No. There's a conference of brain specialists being held in Berlin, and they've invited me to address them.
It's weird, the way you can diagnose a living brain.
All the credit should go to men like Jim, who devote their time and money to develop the devices we use.
We may invent things, but when you fellows get hold of them, you use them for an entirely different purpose.
It's no sense you're trying to hide your light under a barrel. All Europe's wondering what this latest development of yours is going to do to television.
That reminds me, dear. Here's a wire I just received. They picked up the test in Vancouver perfectly.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Congratulations.
This sounds like a meeting of the Mutual Admiration Society. It can't be that you 2 giants of the scientific world are embarrassed at the sight of a little girl like me. Do be sensible, June. You think I'm sensible even if Mother doesn't, don't you, Doctor?
I think you're...
Now, be careful. Your professional reputation's at stake.
very charming.
Thank you.
But Howland must realize that when he begins televising a regular schedule, he's liable to run into difficulties.
In what way, sir? He may not be so fortunate in securing men like yourself when he increases his operating staff.
I don't think there will be any difficulty.
You'll admit there is always the possibility of an employee becoming disgruntled over some fancied injustice. Dissatisfaction always leads to temptation. There's always purchasers for valuable secrets.
I see what you mean. However, I doubt you'll be able to convince Professor Howland. Think it over. Goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. Barry. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Package.
Really?
It's High Magazine.
Oh, here you are. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Perry is back and wishes to see you.
Have him come right in.
Yes, Mr. John.
Well, well. This is indeed an unexpected pleasure. Sit down. Been doing a little thinking? Yes. You weren't able to convince Howland. No, but I thought maybe we could
Talk things over?
Yes.
And come to an understanding?
Perhaps.
Would $100,000 be any inducement?
The last word in quadrioptical television, which I'm going to show you tonight, is so big that I'm really frightened every time I think of it.
Why?
Too many people realize its tremendous importance.
You've had offers for it, I suppose.
Naturally. Every company of any size in this country and abroad has been trying to secure the right to use it as I do. And further, to purchase it outright.
Oh, I can recommend this brandy.
I think I will.
What?
Over an island far over the sea, there is a colleen whose way...
I'm sorry, I couldn't get away. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Disappointed?
Not exactly, but you see, I promised to meet Dick here right after dinner.
And instead, you ran straight into my arms.
I did not.
Certainly you did.
I certainly did not.
If I hadn't been here to catch you, what would have happened?
I'll show you. I would have been strolling sedately along, admiring the beautiful view and the wonderful moon.
It is nice out here tonight, isn't it?
Lovely.
Over an island far over the sea, there is a colleen whose way...
Here I am, Dick, over here.
Oh. I came out for a breath of air, and June almost...
Now, don't go telling tales out of school.
Well, she did seem a little jumpy when she saw me. Are you nervous, dear?
Not exactly. But I have kind of a funny feeling here. My heart doesn't want to stay where it belongs. It keeps going flippity-flop.
I guess the excitement was too much for you. Well, we still have time for a short walk. Harry, will you join us?
I'd like to, but there are still a few things I have to do before we go on the air. Some other time, perhaps.
Very, very interesting, isn't it? Sorry, Missy. Thumbs off fingers.
It doesn't matter, Arling. It's all right.
When wine is filled with accident, steps of disaster hasten.
Stop that nonsense. Pick up that glass before someone is really injured. No matter what happens, Arling always has a proverb. But I'm not a bit superstitious, but it does give one a rather creepy feeling. Oh, don't pay any attention to Arling. He has a mania for quoting Confucius and Charlie Chan. You know Charlie.
Clever, these Chinese.
No way for me, by the light of the valley that I love so dear.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Why, Mr. Grayson, I didn't recognize you. How are you, sir? Grayson, how are you? Fine, sir, fine. Can't you see, June, that the chance we've both been waiting for?
Does your promotion depend entirely upon Father?
Well, if your father would only...
I think I'll have to go in.
All right. I'll do it myself. Even you, as the chief of police, will have to admit that your methods are obsolete.
That may be, Jim. But we seem to get along pretty well as it is with our radio teletype system.
Suppose you had instant pictures at your command showing every move a criminal you are tracing makes.
If you can do that, I can't understand why the government isn't interested.
Government officials will be watching tonight, not only in Washington, but in widely separated points throughout the country.
I'll admit it should be of great interest to them.
After the broadcast, I have a greater surprise, a further development which you will hardly believe until you see it.
You make me very curious.
It is my hope to be able to prove that television is the greatest step forward we have yet made in the preservation of humanity. It will make of this earth a paradise we've always visioned, but have never seen.
Well, some pardon, sir. Man named Mendoza say he must see. Him no take no for answer.
Mendoza?
Our gentleman is in the reception room.
Thanks, Arlene. You'll pardon me, won't you?
Certainly.
Harry, there's a gentleman here named Mendoza. Do you happen to recall him?
No, sir. Should I see him for you?
That's not necessary. I'll talk to him for a few moments. It's nearly 8. I'll flash you from the laboratory when I'm ready.
Mr. Howland?
Yes?
I am sorry to interrupt at a time like this. I represent a group of men that are very anxious to purchase your invention.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mendoza. It is not for sale.
They are prepared to pay anything you ask.
I'm not asking anything.
In that case, Mr. Howland, I must insist that you do not go ahead with the demonstration you are planning this evening.
Just whom do you represent?
I am not at liberty to tell you, but I assure you they are a very powerful group.
Then there's nothing more to be said. Good night, sir.
Good night.
This is James Howland, owner of experimental station ZY3, located at White Plains, New York, televising on a sight channel of 3/4 meters. We are attempting to reach the entire United States direct without the use of relays. Our first presentation this evening will be I Had the Right Idea by Miss Florence, accompanied on the piano by my daughter, Miss June Howland.
I had the right idea when I picked this night. The moonlight is perfect, the stars in the sky simply sparkle and dance, just like the love in your eyes. I had the right idea when I picked this night. The air feels as though it is filled with the glow. Desire and romance, I'm in a heavenly trance. Your lips entice me, and my arms fit nicely around you. I'm heading for bliss when words and feeling are spoken with eerie, the consummation of a very first kiss. I had the right idea when I picked this night to tell you I love you. I think you're divine. And I want you to be forever just
The few of us who are fortunate enough to have television sets have used them merely as a novelty. When we had nothing else to do, we tuned in on whatever program we were able to pick up. Due to the almost insurmountable obstacles encountered in the frequencies required and high-fidelity pictures, our transmissions were limited. But these obstacles, I am happy to say, have been overcome. This in itself was a scientific triumph, but still I was not satisfied. I felt that television should be something more than just another form of amusement. Therefore, I continued my experiments. I'm now going to show you the latest developments which deal with the transmission of television in the quasi-optical region. It is now 1:15 in Paris. Wouldn't you like to see what's taking place in dear old London?
London still has its fog.
The fog in London is a little too much for us. Let us try the other side of the world. There's a spot that's very fascinating.
I just remembered a phone call I should have made. Do you mind?
Certainly not.
Africa is a very interesting place about which we know very little. The natives of Africa years ago were indirectly the cause of civil war.
Turn on the lights, Perry. Somebody turn on the lights.
Turn on them lights. What's the matter? What's happened?
I don't know. Mr. Howland has probably fainted from overexcitement.
Oh, but...
Everyone, please remain here.
It's all right, dear. Say, there's something happened at the Howland residence. Yeah, we're covering it right away.
Hello. City editor's desk. Get me the Howland residence. Quick.
No. Me no understand what happened. Hello? What? No, me no can say.
What's wrong? Mr. Howland is dead, sir. Dead? When did you leave the drawing room?
During the televising of China. It seemed to be out of focus. I thought something was wrong in the laboratory.
Something was. Is that thing still turned on?
No.
Who shut it off?
I don't know.
Did the watchman let you up here?
I didn't see him.
You're sure?
Of course.
You couldn't be mistaken, could you?
I said I didn't see him.
It would be better if you didn't.
Come, Mother.
It looks to me like...
Just a moment. See if you can find that watchman. Now, Doctor.
The last thing I want to do is thrust a murder on you, Nelson. But this certainly looks like it to me.
You believe that the blow on the head caused his death?
At the moment, I'd be inclined to say that it did.
What's that you have there?
Some papers that were on the floor.
Is there anything missing?
A special cure.
Hello, Chief. Hello, boys. Now, I want a man stationed at each door, and I don't want anybody to leave this house. Fraser, you get a couple of boys and go up to the laboratory. Tell the coroner to phone his report to me here.
Yes, sir. Refusing to let any of us go. But how could we be implicated?
Well, there's no use worrying about that. It's merely a matter of routine.
I hope you're right.
Is it proper to infer you come on business connected with homicide?
Never mind about that. Tell me what you know about Mendoza.
So sorry. but humble servant know nothing about honored gentlemen.
You sure of that?
Regret. Humbly suggest you squander valuable time.
Say, tell me, just how long have you been interested in television?
Since student days in China, have honored to be one of 12 students sent all over the world to learn from masters.
Did Howland know that?
Such matters are not yet presented.
Wonderful.
Too bad it was out of focus in spots, isn't it?
You must be mistaken. The detail was perfect.
You're certain?
As a matter of fact, I've never seen anything quite so clear. It was a revelation to me.
Did you, by any chance, notice anything just after Howland fell?
You mean the shadow that flashed on the screen?
Yes. Could you tell what it was?
It looked to me like the reflection of a person going toward him.
Did you see Miss Spencer leave the laboratory?
I sure did, with her sweetie. Shortly after that, I started to light me pipe when somebody snaked up and grabbed me from behind. Oh, I'd like to get me hands on him.
Think you could recognize him? Appreciate for Howland's invention.
Who hasn't?
Of course, you're interested in it from a business standpoint.
Well, I guess you'd call it that, yes.
Then why didn't you stay for the entire demonstration?
Well, I promised Joan I'd meet her when she's finished.
Did you?
Certainly.
Where?
At the laboratory, of course.
Did you stop on the way or go direct?
Well, no. That is, when I left the house, I thought I saw someone moving among the trees. Whoever it was got away. I met June as she came down.
Did you return directly to the house?
Well, no. Aren't you getting a little bit personal?
Come in.
Did you all want to see me, Mr. Chief?
Yes. All right, Grayson, I'll want to talk to you a little later. There's nothing to be nervous about, Isabella.
That's what you think, sir. But you ain't been listening to Chinese death and disaster symbol since Mr. Howland died. All this excitement ain't too much for my heart.
That's what I want to talk to you about.
My heart?
No.
I didn't have nothing to do with it, honest, I didn't.
I'm sure you didn't. But did you see anybody come through the kitchen earlier tonight?
I didn't see a soul.
Were you there all the time?
No, sir, I wasn't.
Where were you?
I was peeping in at the pictures.
Well, if anybody went through the kitchen, you'd have seen them, wouldn't you?
No, sir, I wouldn't.
Why not?
I wasn't there all the time.
If you weren't in the kitchen and you weren't in the drawing room, for goodness sake, where were you?
I was...
Where were you?
Oh, Mr. Chief, please.
All right, run along, Isabella.
Is my face red?
Come on, let's take a look at the rest of them. Seems to be the center of attraction.
Well, I couldn't swear that any of them was the one. They all look alike to me in that soup and fish get-up.
That's all for now, Reardon. Just how long have you been with Howland?
I should say, let's see,
About 7 months.
How important a factor is the tube you said was missing from the television set?
It's the most vital part of the hookup.
Could it be duplicated?
I doubt it. Mr. Howland designed it himself. Without his drawings, I'm sure it would be impossible.
That's all for now. By the way, Doctor, did you see anything that looked like a figure going across the screen just after Howland collapsed?
Sorry, I didn't. I was phoning at the time.
Phoning?
Yes, I called my office, but no one answered.
That makes 3 people that were out of the room. Of course, you didn't leave the premises.
I know what you're thinking, but you're wrong. Neither Perry nor Grayson had anything to do with this.
Doctor, I'm sure Howland was murdered right before my eyes. I don't know how or by whom. But to me, everyone's guilty until he proves himself innocent. You shouldn't champion anyone. You know, I'm liable to get the idea that you know who did it.
How do I know, Chief, that you didn't?
Oh.
Oh, Lordy. This is Mommy. Wait a minute. Let go. Hold that knife, boy. This is Mommy. I know. Show you. I got put business in here.
Wait a minute. If you put that toad sticker up, you won't need it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Hey, sister, if you stop shimmying, I'll just slide by.
Boss man no hardly put Boss man say throw him out.
Oh, wait a minute.
Out you go.
Wait, you can't.
Out you go, honey. Out you go, honey.
I got business. But I told you I got business here.
Him great Charlie Chan say, the matter is settled. Kindly omit surprise feelings.
We sure been still.
Where's Mr. Nelson?
Why, I don't know.
Would you mind trying to find him? Father's safe has been burglarized.
You'd better notify him yourself.
Anything new, Nelson?
Mother would like to see you at once, Mr. Nelson. Father's room has been broken into. Everything's just as I found it. I haven't touched a thing.
Would you know if anything has been taken?
I'm sure I can help you, Mr. Nelson. I'm familiar with most of Father's things. They only wanted to rob my husband. Why did they have to kill him?
It is very evident that someone in this room removed those prints from Mr. Howland's safe. Everyone is more or less under suspicion, and I'm asking that you all submit to a thorough personal search. A matron will be here in a few minutes, and I am sure the ladies will have no objection.
I never knew a policeman were as nice as Mr. Nelson. I suppose the only time you've ever met one was when he yelled, "Pull over there, lady. Where do you think you're going, to a fire?"
Nobody is to leave this house until those papers are found. I'd advise you, gentlemen, to submit it. Because if you don't, I'll hold every one of you for the next 72 hours. And I assure you they won't be the most pleasant hours you've ever spent. Well,
I have no objection.
the more I think of it, the more positive I am that this thing rests between 2 persons.
Perry and Grayson?
Yes. They both have motives, and they're the only ones that have. They were both out on the grounds when Howland was murdered, but neither can prove where he was. Grayson's ambitious. He's in the television business. He tried to get Howland's invention. He knows it's worth millions.
Granted, but everyone here may have reasons also, or connections with others.
And Perry. Who is he and what is he? He's been here about 7 months. He lied when he said the broadcast was out of focus. We found him in the laboratory when we discovered the murder. He's the one that says the vital part of the television set is missing. And now the prints are gone. I'm going to place both of them under arrest and charge them with murder.
Now, don't do anything hastily. You remember when I examined Crowley's brain for you about a year ago?
Well, what's that got to do with it?
I told you at that time the man was a potential murderer?
Yes.
Your experts sneered and scoffed. Yet within 6 months from that time, he was convicted and sentenced to death.
Well?
If you will permit me to send for my apparatus, I'll prove to you that neither Perry nor Grayson could have committed this murder.
Oh, you're talking sheer nonsense.
Well, let me telephone my office and have Alan bring it right over.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
You'll notice the nerve centers are invested by 3 membranes, which lie between them and the bones that form the walls of the cranial cavity and spinal cord.
Yes?
If part of the skull were resting on the medulla oblongata, it would materially diminish the faculties of perception.
Does that indicate a criminal tendency?
Undoubtedly. Alan, it won't be necessary for you to go back to the office tonight.
Thanks, Doctor. I forgot to mention it before. There was a call for you over your private wire about 8:30.
Oh, that's all right. It couldn't have been anything of importance.
Thanks, Perry.
Have I convinced you, Nelson?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps you have.
Then you agree with me that neither of these men are guilty.
In a way, yet yes, I'll agree with you.
The only difference in their brain development is the size, and scientifically, that has no significance.
Harling, scotch and soda.
Glad I happened across you. The inspector wants to see you. He's upstairs.
Oh, thanks. Well, I wonder what he wants this time.
He wouldn't say.
Inspector, you sent for me?
Huh? No.
Well, Funny.
We're getting a little close in here.
Yes, it is rather warm. Where are you going?
Out for a little air.
Sorry.
My name is Perry, and
Chief's orders, nobody leaves this house. Names don't mean anything.
I keep telling you, I got business here, and I don't want to be roughed up like this. I tell you, I wouldn't come in to. I told you I got business. I keep telling you I got business here. Can't you understand?
That guy, I don't know how he gets in, but he's giving us a lot of trouble.
You mugs don't quit rapping on here. I'm going to chase you all out of here. What do you want?
My name's Jordan. Keith Nelson sent for me.
Okay, that's right. Go ahead.
That's right, Coroner. Call me here as soon as you made an examination. Okay.
I'm Jordan. Don Jordan.
Of the International Television Corporation?
Yes.
You seem to be very concerned about Howland's death.
I was watching his broadcast. When he collapsed, I telephoned here but couldn't get any information.
So I telephoned headquarters.
Well?
I want to know if he died from natural causes or if he was...
Murdered?
Yes.
And if he was?
I think I know who did it.
Suppose you tell me he was murdered.
Howland had an invention which we were all more or less interested in, and...
Never mind the preliminaries. Get to the point.
Well, it's rather difficult, but I'll try. A certain party came to me.
Who was it?
A man by the name of...
Who?
Perry.
Go ahead. What else?
During our conversation, I made him an offer of a substantial sum if he would use his, that is, his influence with Howland in our behalf.
What do you mean by a substantial sum?
$100,000.
As a bribe?
Absolutely not. The money was offered as a gesture of goodwill. If we had someone on the inside, we stood a better chance than the others.
We'll see what Perry has to say about this.
Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lordy.
What's this all about?
Master Bear.
He's the man came to my office. You sure? Positive.
I wonder who could have done it.
It's a mystery to me.
That am Arlene's knife.
It was stuck away in the corner of the bedroom.
This is yours, isn't it?
Yes. The knife belonged to me.
Then why did you kill Perry?
Mr. Perry is a very good friend. Chinese do not repay friendship with death.
You're lying. You know you killed him.
Charlie can say, sometimes look frightful liar.
Take him to his room and see that he doesn't leave there.
Not to say he who takes what gods may send has learned life's most important lesson.
We got this thing here going on for going out to stay.
Well, I got business.
Yeah?
Say, listen to the way I come in. I got business in here. Boys, have a heart. I got business here. I got important business here. Well, listen to me, will you? Now,
You're out. Now stay out.
you might not come in this way, but this is the way you're going out. Wait a minute. No, thank you.
Mr. Nelson, I know it sounds perfectly silly, but I just saw Perry.
Why? That's impossible.
Now, dear, you're naturally upset and nervous.
That doesn't alter the fact that I saw him.
Don't you think you'd better take something to quiet your nerves?
June, where'd you see him?
In the upper hallway.
Oh, Lordy, Lord, I done seen a ghost. Oh, I done seen a ghost. I know I seen a ghost. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, I know I seen a ghost. I know I saw a ghost. Oh, Lordy, damn that ghost again. Did that ever come alive? Missy, don't let him touch me.
Be sensible, Isabella. He's not a ghost.
What does this mean, Perry?
I'm sorry, Chief, that I wasn't able to take you into my confidence before.
If you're here and alive, who was it that was killed?
My brother. A twin. I hadn't seen for years until...
Damn, all things nice.
It's tucked away in the corner of the bedroom. This is yours, isn't it?
Yes, knife belonged to me.
Then why did you kill Perry?
Mr. Perry is very good friend. Chinese do not repay friendship with death.
You're lying. You know you killed him.
And being at a loss to know how he was mixed up in the affair, I refrained from making his identity known until I was able to make a further investigation.
Perhaps I can clear that up for you. This afternoon, your brother represented himself as you to Jordan of the Radio Television Company.
Represented himself as me?
Yes.
And do you know what took place between them?
He was offered a substantial sum to secure the drawings of Howland's process.
That explains it.
Explains what?
Posing as me, it was very simple for him to gain admittance here and have access to every part of the house.
And he must have stolen the print.
Yes. Tim Perry, take envelope from cigarette box on table.
When was that?
Just after you send me after whiskey and soda.
Then it must have been your brother who sent me on the wild goose chase after the inspector.
When?
Just before he was found dead.
There were no papers found on the body.
Who was in this room when the documents were taken?
No one. Just me and you. Door open, but no one come in.
What door?
That door.
Were you still in the study at that time, Chief?
I believe I was.
Anyone with you?
Now, let me see. That was just before Jordan came in.
Undoubtedly. This is what took place.
Thanks. I wonder what he wants now.
He wouldn't say. Isn't that correct, Doctor?
Yes, I did see you, or rather, as you say, your brother take the papers.
Earlier tonight, in view of thousands, Mr. Howland was killed by his own invention. His killing was not accidental. It was a deliberately conceived, cold-blooded execution cleverly maneuvered so as to give the murderer a perfect alibi. Little did Professor Howland realize the surprise he promised you would aid in discovering his murderer. Tonight, a permanent record of everything televised was made on film. Now you're going to see part of that record. Many of you, no doubt, have seen or heard the radio demonstration of starting an automobile motor by voice vibrations. This is not a difficult thing to do. In this instance, the murderer used sound instead of voice. At exactly 8:29, Dr. Schofield made a telephone call from this house to his office. I will now show you what happened. The light that you just saw envelop Professor Howland caused his death.
How could such a thing be possible?
Dr. Schofield's equipment, which you have just seen, radiated waves direct to Professor Howland's laboratory. When these waves came in contact with those the professor's equipment was radiating, they created the interstellar frequency, which is the death ray. Your contacts with foreign governments interested in television are known.
Fantastic.
Do you recognize this? I thought so. May I have that envelope, Doctor?
I'm sorry I can't accommodate you. And I object to strong-armed methods. Perhaps you would like to have a look at this.
There doesn't seem to be anything in this.
Aren't you carrying things with rather a high hand?
Not at all. You nearly succeeded in accomplishing the impossible, a perfect murder. But in your eagerness to prove that neither Grayson nor I could have killed Mr. Howland, you telephoned your office, forgetting that just previously you had said there was no one there.
Perhaps it was another number that I called and didn't care to mention it.
Trying to be evasive, Doctor, won't help. Because your assistant let slip that your private phone rang about the same time when Howland was killed. That led me to investigate. When you saw the very thing in another's possession for which you had committed murder, you took a dagger from Arlene's room and followed my brother. You killed him, believing the suspicion the knife would cast on the houseboy would let you get away without any difficulty. Would you get me a dry martini, Arling?
Yes, sir. At once. 2 olives.
As Arling would say, even though the eyes may see, the mind will not believe.
Thanks for watching the Baba Ghoulie Show by OTR Halloween Holidays. This is Waddle the Duck saying check out Channel Watch Waddle for some fun cartoons with no static.